All right. And with that, we are going. And holy cow, we've got a lot of fantastic artists with me tonight. I'm Dan Crozier with COFOH Live Undead, and it seems like I've been knocking out a lot of these interviews in the last few days. But I'm here with some amazing horror artists and comic book illustrators, Stan Yan, Joe Blablazo, right?
That's me. You said it right.
Robert Elrod and Kevin Gentilcore. And Joe and Kevin, I absolutely love your backgrounds. They're so inspiring and motivational.
We're all about the man meat.
Yeah, man meat.
You don't like my background? I took this shit right up myself. How much more motivational can you be?
Well, that's fantastic, but where's the biceps in it?
Oh,
Work it out. Look at that guy. And then
that's why we can't do this in person, because we all grabbing your biceps right now.
Yeah, we would.
Aren't big enough.
So beefy, that Robert. And then we got Stan with his Walking Dead art in the background.
Oh no, it's the Queuing Dead. It was a book cover I did for a British zombie anthology.
Oh, nice, very cool.
Ooh.
That's pretty cool. So we'll go around a little bit, round table, so to speak. And boy, I can't talk. Oof, yikes. But go around the table and talk a little bit about each of you and what you do. Kevin, why don't you go first? Who are you? Where the hell do you come from? And how the fuck did you get into comics?
I'm Kevin. I came from a muddy hole in the ground.
Excellent.
Conjured, yeah, some sort of ritual. How did I get into comics? I lost a bet, and this is the price I have to pay.
Nice. All right, Robert.
Hi. I'm Robert Elrod. I used to do some comics too, but not anymore. I wised up. There's so much effort for so little return, right, Kevin? Yeah.
Tides are changing.
Yeah, so I do mostly one-off illustrations, mostly horror. I do the occasional book cover. In fact, I've got 2 more on my plate right now to do, so that's mainly what I'm doing these days.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. Joe, how about you?
I'm originally from Tatooine, or El Paso, Texas, as it's called. And I've been doing comics and drawing monsters or whatever since forever. And then I finally was just all, maybe I can make some bucks. And I'm still waiting.
I'm glad you're patient.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Super patient.
Yeah. And Mr. Stanford, I like how it's
oh shoot! I should have changed my name.
No.
No one needs to know that. Yes.
Nobody's supposed to know that.
It must have me logged in as my RemCAD account, because they make me use my full legal name.
Oh, you have your middle name, or is that?
There we go. I changed it.
Right.
So, yes, I'm Stan, and I grew up here in the Denver metro area. I'm a graphic novelist and zombie caricature artist, I guess, is what I'm mostly known for. And I'm actually teaching, as I'd mentioned, at RemCAD now. So I'm teaching sequential art there. Thank goodness, because that's something I can actually do remotely. So I'm still employed.
That's good.
Nice.
Well, that's good. Yeah, how are you guys handling all this coronavirus stuff? You obviously
Not handling anything. That's the point, right?
Can't,
Not handling anything. That's the idea here, right?
Yeah. So everybody's in good health then.
So far,
Yeah.
Stanford.
Chilling with the Hulkster, being healthy.
He is. That's nothing but health. That mustache. No roids used in that mustache.
I don't believe it.
Only the finest HGH.
Nice. Nice. Well, I'm glad you guys were able to come out tonight and on Zoom and everything. So you guys have been illustrating and creating comics, except for Robert. He got out of that game. He was wise. But what kind of draws you to the horror genre? Joe.
That's just kind of like that's the kind of I guess art and entertainment that I consume. It's my favorite thing. And it's I don't know, it's kind of hard because you know how it kind of like teeters on that line of being like cheesy and schlocky and then like genuinely terrifying. And I love that balance. I love trying to you can go either way with it, and I enjoy both of those. I like getting scared shitless, and then I like laughing super hard at scary stuff. So I just swim in that pool, and whenever ideas come up, they're usually in that vein. So I chomp on it and I stick on it until it either makes me laugh or it scares me, and then I feel like I did a good job.
Nice. How about yourself, Kevin?
I like the opposite end, the cheesy, schlocky, stupid end. That's mostly where I dwell. Really hard pressed to try to make anything legitimately scary or horrifying. It's more just stupid monsters and slimy shit and ridiculous plots and cheeseball nonsense. That's my playground.
Nice. And Kevin, you were working on that. Was it what's that schlocky fun book that you're working on, like Bear Kano or something like that?
Bear Kano, yeah.
Yeah. I know I've got one issue, but didn't you come out with another one?
I did, but it was very low print run, which means my buddy printed off on his printer and stapled that shit together. I brought it with me to cons and threw it at people who bought shit. And mostly it was just, I don't want to get too political here, but mostly it was just those comic gates asshole getting their guts ripped out for 24 pages. And
nice.
I stopped selling it, so
that's pretty fun because I think it was you were doing that. It seemed like in response to like Sharknado.
Maybe inspired by Sharknado, yeah. There's not enough animals being merged with weather phenomenon, and it's kind of past. It's a shame, yeah.
Yeah, Robert. Yeah, I've been noticing that a lot of the stuff that you've been coming out with. Your style has really changed, and you've been in the 10 or plus years that I've known you. You've been really able to really try your hand at a lot of different mediums and a few different styles. It looked like. Recently you seem to be working on a lot of graphite. How's that? Is that a fun mess?
It's well, there's a lot of experimenting you can do with that too, because I play with graphite powder a lot.
Oh, cool.
Sometimes I'll mix that with water on clayboard, and you can lift back and draw into it. So there's a lot of experimentation and a lot of things you can do. But yeah, I've been mainly working with graphite, and it's fun, but it gets very tedious too with all of the rendering and shading that I'm doing. But yeah, I'm enjoying it quite a bit. I like to digitally color it after I get done with the drawing, so
cool.
I can extend the life of a piece. I have an original to sell, and then I can just go crazy with color digitally in Photoshop, and then make prints and do book covers.
Nice. I remember you being so tactile. So that's pretty cool that you've been able to do Photoshop. Have you always been doing Photoshop? I know most of you guys do a lot of digital work. I unfortunately still can't to save my life, but that's pretty refreshing that that you're doing that too, Robert.
Yeah, back in 08, 09, I was actually doing full digital paintings. I wasn't very good at it. It wasn't I decided that wasn't my forte, but I've been taking ink drawings for years too and adding digital color to those.
Nice.
Yeah, I used to work in graphic design, so I did a lot of photo retouching and spent a lot of time learning all the channel operations and crazy stuff you can do with it in there. And I just bled over into the art stuff, you know.
I'm glad that you used the word blood. Thank you.
All the
Very appropriate. So Stan, you've been doing these zombie caricatures and also these like brony caricatures too.
Yeah.
I remember when you and I would meet up with Stacy out at San Diego Comic-Con, and after I had my first panic attack there, it was pretty exhilarating watching you just work. You're just kind of that workhorse, going to town while she's pulling in commissions, and you're constantly doing that thing. And that's something that you continue to do. How long have you been doing that, really? I mean, it seems like it's been a while.
I started doing zombie caricatures in 2006, believe it or not. So it's been a while, and it's been a journey, and it's evolved as well. And as you'd mentioned, somewhere along the way, I started doing My Little Pony caricatures of people as well, which is kind of fun because, when Stacy is out there, talking to people, she'll ask them if they'd like to be drawn as a zombie or a pony. And a lot of our customers they're like two disparate ideas. And so that makes them stop, do a double take, like, did I hear you right?
Nice. Do you do?
And, basically those are just two ends of the opposite ends of the spectrum to get people to come and talk to me or to us. And, inevitably I'll draw all sorts of stuff that are not zombies or ponies, but, I've done cyborg-catures, koala bear-catures. The weirdest one I did was a Beauty and the Beast couture where the girl was also a velociraptor and
Nice.
was wearing like employee clothes from Jurassic Park. So that was probably the weirdest one.
I was just going to say, is that inspired by Velocipaster?
No, but I heard about that. My friend watched that movie. Now I got to go see it. So
yeah, I started watching it this morning. Actually, it's really good. It's as silly and as stupid as you think it is.
So you would recommend it to Kevin then, huh?
I would recommend it to Kevin.
On my Amazon queue already, so.
Oh, definitely catch it. It's fun for the whole family. Except for
yeah?
Yeah.
So a 10-year-old could watch it?
No, I said the exception is Milo.
Okay.
Which means he probably will because he's a kid and he needs to defy it. That is the
How can you resist that title too?
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
Velocipaster, yes.
Yeah, most definitely.
I'm going to Amazon right now and adding it to my queue.
Nice.
See, we got to have our priorities.
Right.
Welcome
in
to
the
COFOH
quarantine,
Movie
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So some horror fan questions, like Kevin, what's your favorite horror media, like film, TV? Is there a specific movie or TV show that stands out?
I think just for my taste, film and television are kind of where horror excels at the most. I do like horror literature, horror comics and stuff, but I think movies and television encompass all the elements that you need for horror, really. Could just be because I'm lazy and I just like everything shoved in my face.
I know that feeling.
Right. I mean, I guess my favorite horror movie is Alien, and I don't want to hear about how it's a sci-fi or anything. It's a horror movie. That's it. I'm done.
Yeah,
totally.
Not in the mood to debate it.
Oh, we're not here to debate.
or Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 on the opposite end,
Nice.
Oh yeah.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
The sci-fi? You think that's a sci-fi?
Dennis Hopper's performance is rather.
I thought it was a breakup film, and a comedy.
It's all encompassing. There's some romance in there. There's some,
Yeah. It's unwanted, but it's still there. Well, that's fantastic. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the first one is one of my all-time favorites, and it still unnerves me. So it's interesting to hear. Part 2 is one of your favorites.
I'm quite a fan of sequels. I think sequels get shit on unnecessarily. I think some of the better horror movies are actual sequels of classics, if you say.
Yeah.
like Alien Resurrection, right?
Yeah. Don't sleep on AVP.
The crossovers too. Nice. Yeah. Robert, how about you?
The Exorcist was the first one that I remember my cousin scaring the crap out of me with. So that's been a long time favorite. But I've always loved stuff like Return of the Living Dead. Just the campy goofiness of that. I love that stuff. And Evil Dead movies. Those are some favorites.
Nice.
Yeah, that and Alien. But I like it for its sci-fi trappings.
That movie's about a monster that has a dick for a head. That's horror.
He's got that second mouth, and the head looks like that. All he wants to do is penetrate.
Just like our president.
This became a political show.
That's a horror roast.
Horror roast. Nice. Hey, so what about you, Stan? What do you tend to gravitate towards?
Just from a time efficiency standpoint, because I'm a slow reader, movies and TV shows as well, but I do love horror novels as well, just because I tend to have a very visual mind, and so things that I'm reading tend to be way worse in my mind, and then when they make them into the movie, it's just so disappointing to me, because it was so much scarier to me. Although at this point in my life, I'm like so desensitized to everything that, and the funny thing is I'm a comic artist, and I feel like comics to me are like one of the weakest media for horror, in my opinion, because it either doesn't have like the audio and the editing of a movie, but then it's got too much visual information, so you don't let my imagination make it worse than whatever the artist is drawing. Mm-hmm. And as a result, my one of my bucket list items is I want to write and illustrate a comic that actually scares me, because it's just there isn't one out there that scared me yet. So
what would that comic book look like?
I don't know. I think it probably would be a lot like old horror movies, where like the situations and the reactions of the characters and the monsters maybe being off panel would off screen would probably be more of how it would play out. That way people reading the book would still have their imagination doing some of the heavy lifting for them. Not because I'm a lazy artist, mind you. There's a little bit of that.
like what Kevin was mentioning earlier, like Alien has a lot of that. You don't see the creature.
That's one of my favorite movies as well.
Yeah, it's so well done, and it sets up the mood and the isolation and the claustrophobia. So well because of that. They don't reveal everything. There's no need to. You wait for the it's telling me to upgrade.
Mine says a remaining time 9:47. It's like a countdown.
Yeah.
What happens at the end?
What do we need to confuse?
Yeah, so this stupid thing. Just a second.
Now you said you don't like it to edit. You got to leave this in.
Oh no, I totally, yeah. I'm totally biting that bullet. Oh my God, this is hilarious. So okay, so I'm going to payment methods and everything like that. And
Oh, because you went over 40 minutes. I could have hosted it.
yeah, well,
I have a paid account, so.
yeah, the other thing too is the more people you have on it, yeah, the quicker it eats up that charge. So if I'm just like doing an interview with one person, then that logo does, or that hey, times a wasted doesn't pop on. So at least
I
that's
didn't know that was a calculation in the whole thing.
Yeah, apparently so. Let's see here. That's payment method.
You have to send Zoom their stimulus.
Yeah. Yeah, did you guys get your stimulus checks?
Today, yes.
So
Oh,
stimulated.
You
Trump
feel
bucks.
stimulated?
This is the most exciting thing I've done all day.
I know, I can finally fix my car.
I'm just glad you guys can't see my hands.
Oh, just a second here.
That's why this is so stimulating. Well, if we didn't have all these muscles and biceps all over the place, you know.
I know.
Yeah,
The masculinity is just erotic.
Robert can't restrain himself because of it.
I don't know if you guys can tell, but Hulkster totally letting him go in that hot tub.
Nice.
He's so gross every time he does it.
No jets in this tub.
Yeah.
He's not farting either.
You want the bubbles, brother?
That's why he keeps the dog in there, so there's someone to blame.
That's a smart move.
That's weird. Yeah, let's see here. Sorry about that,
An
guys.
outtake reel for this.
This totally is
interview,
right
isn't
now.
Bloopers. Whoa.
there?
Sorry about that.
No
So
worries at all, man.
anyway, let's see. Joe, what's your favorite go-to?
Oh man. Kind of a lot for the same reasons as Alien, although I guess it's more action, but Predator also. Woo, that movie I watch maybe like every few months. I freaking love that movie. My girlfriend and I play this game called Tough Guy Shit, where you take a drink every time tough guy shit happens, and Predator, chef's kiss is the best for that. Also,
You're
it's a
gonna
great
run
movie.
out of booze.
Totally. You go through a 15 pack real quick. But also kind of going to like what Stan was saying as far as like comics being like super tough to do horror, and it's so true because you can't really do like a jump scare in a comic unless you like
Page turn.
turn the page all quick. Like, but there have been a couple like that one Hellboy story, The Wolves of Kala, where Kate first sees the like ghost wolf thing. Like that whole page, ooh, like it's genuinely unsettling. Like you see her reaction, there's no words or anything, just like spooky ghost wolf in the shadows, and then she freaks out, and it's like, oh man, that was so good.
But that was her reaction that got you, right?
Yeah, totally.
There you go.
And the way it was drawn was just so like it was real. Like she's like covering her mouth, trying not to scream. I was like, dude, that's such like that was good. Or like I think it's like in the very first couple pages of Harrow County when they're hanging that witch, and she's kind of like hanging and like looking out the bottom of her eyes and kind of smiling, and like the way Tyler Crook does those watercolors and everything, like genuinely like unnerving, like spooky. The way like Hereditary was spooky. I was just all freaking love it. But yeah, they're few and far between. But when I can find something I like that, oh man, it's like that's all it takes. I'm like, I'm hooked. Whatever, I'll buy it. I don't care.
That's cool.
Those are like my favorite things. Like if you can if you're able to draw just like something that not gross, what's the word? That's spooky. That I don't know. Even spooky seems too nice, but just something that like unsettling and like real enough that you're like, oh shit, I know what that is, or I've felt that way in my basement, or like when a cat jumped out of the trash can when I was taking out the trash or something. Like, so like I whenever I see him, I'm like, ooh, that's a good one. Mental note. If I ever want to draw something like that down the line.
Nice.
But yeah.
What projects are you guys working on right now, Robert?
Let's see. Right now, I've got a Lovecraftian thing I'm doing. It may end up being somebody's tattoo. It may end up just being something I have to sell later.
Yeah.
Wait and see what the reaction is to it. But I've got a tattoo commission I've got to work on, and 2 book covers lined up to work on. And then I'm also going to start a new side gig. I'm going to start making custom frames for artwork.
No kidding.
So yeah, I'm working on that. I've been building cabinets, and I built a kitchen island here at home, and so I'm getting the woodworking skills going.
Nice. That's
They're
pretty
beautiful. I've seen pictures of them online. They're great.
Thank you.
Yeah, your backdrop's pretty nice too. That's cool. Kevin, what are you working on these days?
Oh shit. My main project is getting over my artistic existential crisis that I'm in right now, which is in itself kind of horrifying. So that's got a lot of work going on. Otherwise, I'm doing more Marvel sketch cards. I think they're fun. They pay for shit, but
Cool.
I like drawing those stupid characters, and people really get a kick out of them. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Besides that, we got Creep House Comics in the background, which I'm kind of dragging my heels on. So my partner Will's probably not too pleased about that. But the newest issue of Crush McNulty, which is not horror related, sci-fi pulp stuff, is right in the hopper. I just have to draw it. So that's kind of what I'm doing.
Well, that's cool. Yeah.
Fun.
With the sketch cards too, because those things go out with all the Marvel cards, right? So you get like a piece of original artwork in a packet.
Yeah, that's how it works. They asked me to do them like 12, 15 years ago, and then I just haven't stopped. They just periodically someone's like, "Hey, you want to do this?" I'm like, "Okay." So
Okay.
they got more restrictive over the years. They used to let us draw whatever the fuck we wanted. Now they have really specific, rigid guidelines. Thanks, Disney. But
yeah, I was just gonna say,
you should draw like Man-Thing and stuff, like fucking up other jerks. And now it's like, you can't draw that. You can't draw 150 Man-Thing cards. Like, whatever. I guess I'll draw a fucking Iron Man just so you're happy. But
that's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Just do a bunch of portraits of Iron Man. Give him a little bow tie and stuff, and a sexy drink or something.
But then
you
they're
have to be
even
really
like
specific about it. This is another thing. Another horror is the legal system that Disney has going on here. Yeah, like you have to draw him. He can't look like Iron Man from the movies, Robert Downey Jr. And his iron suit can't look like the Iron Man suit from the movie. But if you draw Tony Stark from the comics, that's okay. But doesn't that guy look like Robert Downey Jr.? I just drew him as
It's super silly, yeah.
Yeah.
Subjective. It is.
Yeah. What about you, Joe? What are you working on these days? I know earlier you said you were selling a bunch of T-shirt designs.
Yeah, with everything going down, my hours have been super cut, so I'm just been any old drawings I have that I'm like, oh, I can make this into a screen printable shirt design. So I've been doing some work with some local shops, did some work with Lab 7, did some work with Small Print Shop to just make some spooky shirts. I just got an iPad, so I've been like learning on that, getting more used to that. It is a weird it was a weird adjustment, but it's pretty fun, man. It's super fun.
Nice.
And then I'm like
art right here,
ow, thanks so much.
right on my wall here. I can see.
Yeah, only you can enjoy.
Yeah, I can't do my computer now. You can see Robert's back there if I turned off the man meat, but I'm not going to. So.
Yeah, don't. Because we like those biceps. Oh
Yeah.
man,
You
there's
gotta.
nothing more straight than those two, guys having that homoerotic, handshake in the back.
That's how I say hi to all my friends. You just handshake and flex as hard as you
Not
can.
right now. Not right now.
Yeah.
No.
That
No,
was not
not right
social
now.
distancing right there.
Yeah. I just
Yeah.
grab doorknobs really hard when I open them.
Look how sweaty they are too. So,
Oh yeah. They're all glistened and stuff, and they made sure to dehydrate for a couple days so they could get all the veins and everything.
Yep.
You get this up close shot. Yeah, that would be hilarious if Arnold actually had a body double for that shot. It's like
An
it's
arm double.
I feel
And they only have
with this
only
one.
that arm is buff. The rest of them's all regular, but they have that one arm.
Yeah, the one arm. This is the stuff.
Extremely right-handed.
Yeah. So Stan, what are you working on these days? I know you're teaching Rocky Mountain College of Art Design class.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So that's keeping a little bit of money coming in as all these
Good.
conventions and school visits have been canceled and whatnot. But I've also had a little bit more time to work on a bunch of children's graphic novels that I've been working on. So one of them is featuring the zombie from my zombie children's book as the main character.
Oh, cool.
And one of the other characters in my book is the evil twins here.
Okay.
And I'm writing a script for them as well, because they're actually in both books.
Oh, nice.
So,
That's cool.
so and then so they're all horror, kind of horror inspired. I mean, they're all mostly humorous.
Yeah.
I'm like Kevin. I can't really take it too seriously. Just playing up the tropes and everything like that. But probably the scariest book that I'm working on is a kind of a young reader graphic novel about an anthropomorphic Band-Aid and anthropomorphic scab called When Floaty Met Scabby. That's the scariest book that I'm writing right now.
That's I want to read that. I did do years ago as like a Kickstarter incentive. I had a big donor, and they're like, I want to make my own incentive, and so they're like, I was like, okay, they're like, I want to co-write a comic book page with you. So we did that, and it was the adventures of a scab and a piece of meat that. So yeah, I can't recall what was it called. It's like the adventures of Love Scab and Meat Flag or something like that. And it's just this scab on a knee that's it's drying off. It's almost healed. It's like what's my life going to be like? Once I peel off. Oh my gosh! And so it's having a little bit of a crisis. And then.
So you're trying to tell me I'm late to the game, huh?
I'm just saying, I'm giving you some background so as to what not to use, but then thereby I'll probably be informing you of what to use.
I think I've seen some of those characters in swimming pools.
That was actually what inspired the story. It was like I was swimming with my son, and we saw this Band-Aid floating by, and then all of a sudden this story kind of sprouted up in my mind.
Yeah, I think there needs to be more of like this. Well, and that also ties into body horror.
Like what? Human Centipede? Is that body
That's
horror?
definitely body horror.
That was one of my most fun crossovers that I did was My Little Pony. It was a pony centipede. And someone bought that. It was a sketch cover for My Little Pony sketch cover. And before I was even done drawing it, someone bought it off of me.
Whoa,
wow,
nice.
That's great. You should do more of those. Yeah,
I actually am planning on. I was gonna do a human Cenobite one where Pinhead's in the back.
Nice.
But they
That would
love
be
it.
cool to see a My Little Pony with a lot of needles.
Oh,
Man.
man.
Well, that's pretty cool. So it sounds like you guys are, keeping pretty busy, especially during all the quarantine stuff. And typically I see you guys out there doing tons of conventions and making a lot of appearances and stuff. And I know right now you're not able to do that, but that's pretty much how you guys make a big chunk of your living, right? As far as being an artist is going to those conventions and doing those. Robert, you've been doing a lot of horror conventions. How do those like differentiate between the horror conventions and the comic cons that you used to do? Because I don't think you do too many Comic Cons anymore, right?
Not too many. I try to be more picky about the Comic Cons I do. Mostly local things anymore.
Right.
But for me, the horror cons work out much better because it's more targeted to what I'm producing, and so it's much more likely that I'm going to get people interested in what I'm doing. Whereas the Comic Cons, you got a lot of people there just to cosplay and show off their costuming, and then you've got all these different, you've got superhero people, you've got the My Pony people, you've got people that are into very specific subgenres within the nerdy comic community, and not all of them are into the dark art stuff that I do. So the horror shows are much better for me because it is a targeted experience. And I've also found that as far as I've experienced, the horror fans are much more dedicated to their genre and consuming it than some of the others.
Right. That's been my experience too. Like back in the day when I think we all have done Mile High Horror Film Fest at one point or another, and when I used to do Denver Comic Con, as long as I had Enigma there at my booth, I would do very well that weekend. But then when I would do Mile High Horror Film Fest, the interest in whatever you were doing seemed to be just compounded. And the turnout was like maybe 1/10 or less than that of what Denver Comic Con was, but they were just so much more engrossed and interested in what you were doing, as long as it was horror and stuff. So I think the fandom is just so much more endearing, I think.
And that's kind of where the zombie caricature thing really took off for me, was at Mile High Horror Film Fest, because
no kidding.
People didn't even care how much it costs. They're like, how do I do this? I want to do this. And like, well, it's going to cost this. I'm like, oh, yeah. And like, they never even considered how much it might cost.
Nice. That, your commissions are very affordable too. Yeah. How long do those take to turn out?
Like if I'm doing a one person black and white, head and torso zombie caricature illustration, I'm shooting for about 10 minutes, maybe 15 at tops.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez, you are a machine. Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Assuming I'm not talking to a lot of people. That's a part of the reason Stacy's there, because she cracks the whip and she's like, Stan, stop talking. You got a few more waiting for you.
Every now and then, can you raise your hands like, I got to take a bathroom break? It's like, no, that's why the bucket.
That's why there's a bucket. No. I have to, be careful that I don't get that mixed up with a water bottle.
Oh, geez. I hope you're looking at that. It's like, well, that looks like Mountain Dew. I probably shouldn't drink.
No, she takes care of me. I mean, that's why part of the reason
she's there, because
if I need to take a break, then she's still there to, conduct business, make sure people aren't, stealing stuff from me or whatever. But the other thing I've also noticed at these horror-based conventions is it's actually easier to sell books at
Yeah.
non-book conventions, because people that are exhibitors, they're all like, oh, this is a comic book, I should sell my comic book here. So you're competing with the people that actually go to comic book conventions to buy comics. You're competing with all the other vendors that are selling comic books as well.
Right.
Whereas at a horror convention, I may be the only one selling a zombie children's book there. So it's easy for me to go through several cases of sales over the course of a weekend at a horror convention, whereas I'm happy to sell one case like a whole weekend at a comic book convention.
Yeah, that's something I've noticed more often too.
Yeah.
Scrutinize you less too. The Comic Cons people pick up your shit and thumb through it and try to get you to do the whole song and dance and give them the story behind everything. I'm just like, it's $5. It's not buying a car,
Not a library.
Yeah, at horror, at like particularly stuff like Mile High Horror Film Fest, since it's such a weird kind of dynamic, because you're really there catching the crowds in between and before movies, so there's always like a rush. People run in and out. And people will come by my table and be like, "I'll buy this and this," and then go. It's a lot of that. They don't stop to talk. They don't.
It's pleasurable because we
don't
get
want like
breaks.
this whole experience like Comic-Con. People expect there to be like a fucking show and dance about it because it's at a convention like that. I'm just like, no, I'm just here with my shit. Oh, you don't hassle to do at 7-Eleven about this stuff, do you?
Yeah.
That's kind of weird.
What's in this turkey? Tell me the story about that beef jerky.
Yeah.
Well, the real nice thing is, since it's kind of laid back between, when people are in watching movies, then, that's the time you can get food and beer, and you don't have to worry about, leaving your table behind or anything like that.
Empty your
Plus,
pistol.
it's kind of a community because we all know each other. We trust each other to watch each other's tables and stuff like that.
Right. Hey, not Robert. He doesn't trust any of us. That's probably
Depends on who you're
Robert.
next to.
No, if Robert goes to the bathroom, you have to. It's like a whole ritual. Like, okay, this is how much this costs. This is where this is. Someone after this.
Some bear traps in front of the table.
Just,
Robert, make sure no one like lights my shit on fire. I'll be back sometime.
well, the bear traps are not to deter people; they're to keep people there.
Ah,
Yeah.
I need to rethink mine because I put like a Rancor pit in front of my table.
Oh, nice. I actually now want to go to your table a lot more. Oh,
Yeah.
have your own red
I'm usually just lounging behind the table eating frogs. Oh.
It's gonna be the closest I get to Tiger King.
Yeah.
So, Joe, what's your experience like at some of these conventions? Is it pretty similar?
Yeah, about the same. Comic conventions. You're competing with like walls of fan art, which is cool. Like I buy it all the time, but I don't make it, and so I do commissions for fan art, but I don't like make prints or anything. And so there's that whole like competition thing, and people go to a Comic-Con because they're fans of specific comics, and so it has to be like a very specific thing, like Dink or other independent cons where people are going to find new stuff. I do well at those, or I do well at things that aren't Comic-Cons. I did like a weird like fine art thing, and I was the only dude selling comics there, and people were going freaking nuts. I was all cool. All right, I'll take it. Yeah, right. But yeah, it feels like everywhere but comic conventions, and it feels like it's only been like maybe like the last 4 years or so. I feel like before it wasn't as hard, but it's gotten those shows have become less and less good money wise. I mean, I still have a blast. I go to as many as I can, but they haven't been doing as well money wise as like a horror show or like a non-comic show.
Yeah.
But the indie shows are still the best, and I think that's just because the people that go to indie shows are going to find new fun stuff that they couldn't find at maybe like a regular Comic-Con. And I don't know if that's been you guys' experience too, but I find that those indie cons are like the best, the super best.
Yeah.
The smaller one.
I don't do as many commissions at them, so I mean, from a
that's true.
monetary standpoint, but I do sell more books, which is kind of my main goal anyway. And then, because it's a little bit more laid back where I'm not drawing the whole time, they're fun because, you know, what I used to be able to do at cons back in the day is, you know, network and talk with people. And so
Yeah.
I think is always one of the more fun conventions for me because I get to do stuff that I don't get to really do at Denver Pop Culture Con, San Diego, and, you know, when Walker Stalker was around. I don't know what's going to happen with them now.
Year
Yeah.
off, yeah.
Yeah, with a number of these events too. Like recently, everything's being pushed back, you know, postponed, or you know, heaven forbid, you know, just canceled altogether. So you know, for this year, it's going to be you know, pretty problematic. Luckily, like Mile High Horror Film Fest took a 5-year hiatus and was supposed to come back next month.
Right.
You know, they rescheduled for October. So so I'm definitely looking forward to that because you know, that, you know, years past, that was my Halloween event. You know, that was it for me. And so at least now they're
My Little Pony Con?
What's that?
Not the My Little Pony Con?
They had one?
Yeah, it was called Running the Leaves, and it was on Halloween weekend one year. The only year that I did it.
What the hell? I didn't even hear about this.
Why
How
would
was
you?
So what's
Convenient. It was like up
What
at the
was that
Ramada
like?
by my house, so it was like a 5-minute drive.
Nice.
How many children were there, and how many adults?
It was actually mostly men your age.
Yeah.
There were some kids
Put an
there.
Amber Alert out in that fucking place.
Yeah.
Isn't there a Bob's Burgers episode based off of this?
Is there?
I don't know. Yeah.
No, I think so. I think like you know, one of the kids you know, lost her limited edition, like My Little Pony type. You know, it's whatever the Bob's Burgers knockoff was,
Uh-huh.
and you know, lost it to some collector at this show, and so Bob had to dress up as one of the bronies and learn about all brony mythology and stuff, and to kind of infiltrate this and get the toy back to this kid. God, that was hilarious because all these adults with mustaches just walking around dressed up like furries, and yeah, it was absolutely hilarious. So that's how I picture that event, you know, being Stan. Was it?
But, I mean, there were a lot of fans that were wanting to sing songs with me that I didn't know lyrics to. So, but that's also like the anime convention as well. But since most of the people doing that are teenagers at the anime con, they don't ask me to sing with them.
Yeah, whenever I get asked, it's like I still don't know the words to Happy Birthday, so don't bother.
Right. Oh, and even when you're washing your hands.
Oh no, now I wash my hands, but I don't sing.
No, next time they ask you to sing, that's when you jump on your table and unleash your inner Rob Halford and just blast the place.
I think that's more Kevin. I think that's
Do it
I wash
next
my
time.
hands and I sing Napalm Death songs over and over.
oh my
I sing "You Suffer But Why" 300 times, and I'm like, all right, done.
God.
Your
Talk about
hands
social
feel after all that
distancing.
hand washing anyway.
That's great. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm definitely looking back to, you know, getting back into like doing events and stuff like that. You know, one thing about doing like the local events, you keep doing the Comic-Con stuff, you end up running into all the same people that are attending, you know, and they've pretty much already have your wares, you know.
Yeah.
So that can be, so you know, that either pushes you to go and spend more money to go outside of Denver and outside of Colorado, or you just got to keep coming up with new stuff. Both have their overhead.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah. So when you're as an independent comic book artist, how do you make those you know, in Illustrator? How do you make those decisions on what events to do and not to do? And you know, and of course, some of that can be based on whether or not you get in. You know, if unless it's like first come, first serve, or there's actually some kind of adjudication level.
I stopped going out of state years ago. It's totally not financially viable at
Right.
all. Especially not when your main product is, $4 or $5 comic books. I guess I just try to find things that are in my niche down. I think there's value in having a specific niche nowadays because
Right.
there's so much shit out there. So like your stuff, horror cons,
Mhm.
indie stuff like Dink. I think that's kind of where my groove is. Denver Con has been diminishing return, both financial and experiential over the years. So I just stopped with the pop culture stuff. It's not for me, and I don't think it's for my work either. So I think that's how I base it. Local stuff, niche stuff. I think that works pretty well for me.
Joe?
Usually if the table doesn't cost a ton and I've got like good pals somewhere else, I'll do that. Like there's a really fun small show up in Boise, Idaho, and I have a really good friend. I made my first graphic novel with him. He lives up there, and so I'll go do that show and crash with him and spend like the weekend hanging out with my buddy. I got pals in Texas, pals in New Mexico, so kind of all along the Rocky Mountains where all my pals are. I'll do shows out of state if the table's reasonable and I can afford to fly over there and hang out with my buddies. That's usually it. Otherwise, mostly local and mostly niche stuff now. Just because same thing with Denver Comic Con. I didn't even get in this last time. I've been doing it since the second year, I think, and this year I wasn't able to get in. And part of me was like, oh, that sucks. Like it's a fun show. I like being there, but also the diminishing returns. Like every year I've been making less and less at that show, and the table prices get higher and higher. So it's like, I'm not crushed that I can't do it, but
you get to save your sanity.
What's that?
You get to save your sanity.
That's true. That is a wild show. Remember when they had that one like where it went into Monday? That was a weird one.
Was it Memorial Day weekend?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Was that last year, right?
No,
the year before that.
4 years, yeah.
Like the third or fourth year or something.
Yeah.
I was under the assumption that last year was the only time they did like Memorial Day weekend. So interesting, they did that a few years ago. Yeah, I bowed out years ago because I always loved getting a booth. At the time, they were very affordable. And then one year, I saw the price jump for the next year. I'm like, we're not doing that. It's just not worth it. Robert, what does it take for you to go do an event?
Well, the best show for me, sales-wise, is one I do in Dallas, beginning of May every year. I get probably close to half my sales in that one show for all of the conventions I do. Mm-hmm. So I always try to go to that one. That's a big horror show. Mm-hmm. But the rest of them, typically what draws me is, is there a guest that I think will pull a lot of people in? Do I know people in the area that I might want to see again? Do I have family in the area maybe? I'll go to, the Phoenix area because I have a brother down there. I like to see him and his kids. But now that I'm here about Boise, I might have to go check that out because
It's a fun show, man.
Nice.
And Boise rules. Boise's a cool spot.
Yeah, and then if it's something I can drive to in a day, if it's a day drive, I drive up to 14 hours to get to a show, and I'll do that whole drive in one day and then set up the next. And, so location's a big part of it. But I've done a lot of shows that I later regretted because I'll go and I'll lose money with all the overhead, or I'll go and it just won't be as well attended as I expected.
Yeah.
It's a gamble. This year I had only planned to do 2 out-of-state shows. One of them's been rescheduled, unfortunately, to the same dates as COFOH.
Curses, Robert.
The other one's late June, and I'm waiting for them. I'm expecting they'll probably have to reschedule or cancel theirs too. But
Yeah. Stan, how about you?
So yeah, things have changed, through the time. I mean, I'm like Robert in that I like, and Joe, that I like looking at conventions and places that I've got friends and family. So like anything that's in Chicago, I'll give a shot. And that was actually the reason that I tried going to Walker Stalker Con in the first place, because Richard, I don't know if you guys know him. He does this podcast with Jolien. It's like a horror movie podcast.
Oh yeah, I remember him. Okay.
And in fact, they're interviewing me on this weekend for their Shining show, because I'm a huge fan of Shining. Anyway, but so yeah, I mean that's one of the calculations. San Diego, I've been doing every year since 2001. And every year I keep thinking, well, maybe I should quit, because it's never been my most lucrative convention. Right. And it's also a pain in the butt too, just because of how many people are there and just what a huge undertaking it is. And there's just like so many ways that you can, basically fuck up.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you've never been there before. I mean, I've been there enough years that there's always something that's new that I didn't expect, but it's only the one thing as opposed to 12 things if this was my first year. And I've known people that went out there that didn't have any lodging arrangements and things, and you just can't do that anymore.
Yeah, it's tough to find a place there to stay too.
Yeah. So basically, whether or not you've got a table, if you don't already have one, you kind of have to just plan on being there anyway, and have several different game plans for, well, if I do get awarded a table, what am I going to do? If I don't, what I'm going to do as an attendee.
Yeah.
But there's always like something that happens at San Diego that keeps me wanting to go back. Things like getting my books to Greg Nicotero and T-shirts like that. Meeting celebrities. Getting my book to R.L. Stein, those are all things that I couldn't have done anywhere else. And in this year, I may be getting a publishing contract from one of the publishers that exhibits there every year.
Oh, good! Congrats!
So,
nice, congrats, dude.
That'll get me to go out again and be on the panel. They actually had me on their panel last year. So, maybe I had an in. I don't know.
Take them.
Yeah.
So, and then as far as like Denver Pop Culture Con, as much as I've seen it, change for a lot of people for the negative, last year I also had to downgrade my booth just because the booth that I've had tripled in price, but my revenue stayed flat since the first year. And so I'm like, okay, I'm downsizing to an Artist Valley table. And last year, they actually put me all the way in the back, which was kind of good because it was right by the bathroom. But it was also good because it was across from the kids' lab, which is really like any event where I know there's going to be a lot of kids and families there, because I'm doing children's books, is a good event for me. So whereas before my kids' book came out, and actually the year that it came out, I didn't do too well with sales there, and that was really disappointing. But I think it's because they put me above this panel that was spewing out shit smell, so that didn't help me.
That's good.
I mean, we talked about at length at that convention, because you were familiar with what problem they were having.
Oh, was it dry pipes?
Dry pipe, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty common. Big place like that.
Yeah, and from what I understand, they were having that problem for a lot of the year, so it wasn't just Denver Comic Con that year either. But yeah, so it's not a fair year after year comparison, because I didn't have to deal with that the following year. So
yeah, the convention center has shitty pipes.
Yeah, literally.
So do I.
Yeah, so when you're doing like out of state shows and stuff, do you like the setup of your table and your displays and everything? Do you have to keep in mind setting up, scaling down, scaling up? what kind of wares you're gonna bring, what you think is gonna sell. I know, like Robert, you'll in the past I've seen you showcase artwork that like if there's like what you mentioned before, if there's a keynote guest, featured actor that was in like a popular movie or something, you'll have artwork that displays that and can I guess cross promote.
Yeah, that's something I've definitely done before. I know I did a Texas Primary Weekend several years ago, and Danny Trejo was a guest.
Nice.
I had an original painting of him, and he and his manager actually came by the table.
Cool.
They missed me twice.
Oh no!
My son both times, but I did. They allowed me to go and give him a couple of prints of the painting, and so I got to skip the line and get photos with him, and it was pretty cool.
Oh, that's sweet. I remember years ago, you and I did Zombie Zone in Seattle.
Yes, great show.
And yeah, that was a lot of fun. That one sticks out to me because I was like doing wood burning back then still too, and I was wood burning like Zombie Bambi or something.
Yep, that's right. Zombie Bambi.
I turned around and there's Tom Savini going through my shit. And I'm like, oh, hey, Tom, that's great. It's like, hey, let me know if there's anything you want. Happy to, just give you some of my wares. And he like turned around and just, just left immediately.
He's done that to me at several shows. If you talk to him, he just bolts.
Yeah. So I was just like, what the hell? I was like, did I offend him? I was like,
no, you recognized.
He had those stinky pipes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever. I'd fucking charge him. Tom Savini's money is just as good as anyone else's, man.
Right. I like
You
your.
feel his fingerprints?
That's right. You can sell those for more now.
And so, I think later that day, Robert, I turned back around and there's Bill Moseley and Sid Haig. And whoa, they were so awesome. I got to chat with them, and that was the only time. Like, I don't really go out of my way to meet celebrities. I just don't have any interest. I'm much more interested in like making sales or getting the next commission or something like that. But that was because they engaged and they were so personable. I was like, wow, I'm actually kind of starstruck. So. Kevin, I actually did give some prints to, and they were pretty sweet about it. So
he'd fucking charge you, man. He'd charge you.
Yeah. But I think Kevin, did you and I weren't we at Mile High Horror Film Fest when it was over at the C Center, and we hung out with Bill Moseley and Kate Hodder?
Yeah, I've been a part of that show every year since it was in the fucking rafters at the old Tivoli Center.
Yeah. I keep going back, to those shows, but I remember like we did a photo op or something with Kane and Bill Moseley, and you turned to me and was like, hey, you should ask Kane to choke you in the photo or something. Yeah, he'll really choke you. I was like, oh. Yeah. And then he actually started squeezing my throat. I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm going to pass out. Take the photo. Oh, man, I hope he doesn't do that anymore. Nowadays, I think that would be called some kind of assault.
Unless you were into it, and then you're like, harder.
It's called S&M, right? S&M. More, yeah. Oh, I just climaxed.
Now slap me through this table.
Yeah.
Daddy.
Nice. Oh man, I love how where we're going. This is.
That's what happens when you've got one of these meetings with just all guys. So
I know.
Well, we covered bronies. We covered choke slam sex with Kane.
Right.
And what's left?
My pipes.
Now
we got to talk about poop stuff. We talked about poop stuff. We got them all.
Shitty pipes.
Yep. Dry pipes, shitty pipes. San Diego Comic-Con, you know, that all falls into there. Yeah.
Human centipedes, we got it all on this show.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Pony
Human
centipedes.
centipedes with bronies, right?
Yep.
Pony centipedes.
Centipedes.
Pony centipedes. Nice.
I'm gonna talk about regular centipedes real quick, just to cover them all. I squished one once. It was gross.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Robert, when are we going to get your own, My Little Pony centipede?
You know, it's funny talking about the human centipede thing. I had this idea years ago where I was going to do little one-page segments of just like, one might be Marvel characters.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I would line them all up. So you might get like 3 horror guys, 3 Marvel guys, and I'd run them across the table and just see which one sold. And then the next show, I just scoot those together and add a few more and just do some Disney characters, everything. Just work them all in there.
Did you draw them all like on their hands and knees so that they connected?
Yes, exactly. From one series to the next, they'd all connect.
I'm surprised no one's made a crazy straw yet of a human centipede.
It's probably out there. You just want to, that's one of the top sellers during the lockdown on Amazon.
You gotta have your straws, save the environment. Get a human centistraw.
Boy, it sucks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
Oh, dear. That's awful.
So the human centipedes would be doing okay right now on the toilet paper because they really
Well, yeah, that's true.
the amount of toilet paper the rest of us using.
They're
Yeah,
they're heroes.
They're all about
Kind
recycling.
left, yeah.
Be okay, because we'd all be in the front.
Robert, the way you described it too, I could visualize it as your letterhead.
Sure.
You should put some sort of randomizer so it shuffles them, so each time you visit your page, it's a little different.
Nice.
Oh,
that'd be-
Yeah. So, guys, since we can't really leave our homes, unless you're essential workers, Ooh. What is it that you guys are watching, at home that you're into and can recommend? Because I'm looking.
Mhm.
Well, we've watched all 3 seasons of Ozark. Really enjoyed that.
Oh yeah, Elise and I enjoy that. She's really into Ozark.
Yeah, really like that one.
I
We're
just-
watching Killing Eve now.
Which one?
Killing Eve, we're watching that one.
Oh yeah, I started watching that too. That's pretty good. Yeah.
So I
just
started
watched,
watching.
I watched, we did the Poltergeist series.
Oh, the TV series.
No, the movie series. I don't know what TV
Oh,
series.
okay.
There's a steep drop off after the first one. We watched the entirety of the 3 Men and a Little Baby oeuvre. The 2 movies.
There's only 2 of those, right?
Isn't there a
Unfortunately,
ghost
there's
in the
only
first
2.
one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And we've embarked on rewatching for the 5th or 6th time the entirety of the Tremors series, which is probably the most satisfying series ever committed to film.
I rewatched Tremors last night.
Nice.
It's the best movie. It's so good.
So good, dude. It was so good.
Yeah.
Here's another series we just binged, Future Man on Hulu.
Oh, I heard about that.
I tried getting into that. It's a little slow for me. I'm slow on the uptake.
I love all the crazy 80s mashups they got going in it, and then just the terrible sexual innuendo and just
Nice.
weirdness.
Stan?
So yeah, I just started watching this series on Amazon Prime called Tales from the Loop. So I'm
Oh
about
yeah.
4 episodes in because I have the book, the art book, Tales from the Loop, and the sequel, and they're just gorgeous. The art, I'm a huge fan of. But so I'm like, okay, I'll give this series a shot, and it's pretty cool. I mean, it's like it's supposed to take place, I think, in the 70s or maybe early 80s, but there's like some time travel they haven't really gotten into yet. So there's like all these mech robots all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And it's like every episode's like a Twilight Zone episode. So like the first episode I watched, I'm like, God, this is slow. I don't know where it's going. And then by the end, my head just exploded. I'm like, oh my god.
Oh, yeah, I haven't gotten through the first episode because it's just such a slow burn. So I'm just like,
It is. But if you get to the end of it, then it's
here and there. And, okay, nice. That's
although I still wish it was in Scandinavia because the book takes place in Sweden.
yeah.
It's a little bit more recent because I think it's supposed to be like in the mid '80s or something like that. But it's still good.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know the painter's name, but I know the artwork, and it's got that. I know it's Swedish, but it's got that Americana feel to it. And then
Well, the TV show is supposed to happen in Ohio,
oh, okay.
so that's where you're getting that from.
Oh well, I'm just talking about the artwork.
Well, the art. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the artwork, and then you've got like those backdrops of like some kind of metal that's rusted out in the backdrop or something, or some luminous tower, mechanical tower, way off in the distance. So yeah, that's pretty cool stuff. Hey guys, we're about ready to wrap up. Can we go around and just let us know where we can find your artwork and your books and all your wares online?
Sure. RobertElrodLLC.com or RobertElrodArt.com. Either one will take you to my site.
Nice.
On Facebook, I'm just Joe Blablazo. On Instagram, I'm Joe_Blablazo. I guess. I don't know why. Right now, actually, today is the last day to order some shirts I'm getting done through a small print shop. The link is on my Facebook and my Instagram. There's 3 different shirts that have spooky stuff on them and a couple totes with some spooky stuff on them. You can take them to the grocery store and stuff all your things in them and be the coolest cat. Yeah, that's where you can find my biz.
Nice. Stan?
You can find me at stanyan.me or zombicatures.com. So
Nice.
there you go.
Kevin?
I'm trying this new thing to regiment my social media. So if you want to find me on Facebook, it's just my name everywhere I go, Kevin Gentilcore. Facebook is Utter Nonsense. Instagram, All Art. Twitter, Heavy Metal Recommendations. That's what I'm doing.
Nice.
Nice.
Nice. Fantastic, guys. So everybody that's watching at home, and you better be at home, definitely go out, find, these artists at the platforms that they just listed. Support art, support your local businesses, because especially right now, we all need it. We all need the cross-pollination and each other's, support. So, guys, thanks for coming on this. I greatly appreciate it. Hopefully next time we can physically meet up 6 feet apart and, actually have, in a real room together conversation. So
I need a wide angle lens.
Human centipedes away do you have to be?
Right.
You can see how small our heads are.
Yeah, you guys will just be reduced to pixels. It'll be great. And I'll just ask you to project. So yeah, hopefully we can all meet up at Mile High Horror Film Fest and the Colorado Festival of Horror, later on this year. Robert, you won't be there, so as much as I love you, fuck you. I'm just kidding. I absolutely adore you, Robert. As with you other 3, especially the guys with the awesome backgrounds. Good God, man, so much masculinity.
Well, thank you very much.
All right, gentlemen. So I'm gonna hit stop record and just go ahead and hang out for a minute. Have a good one, guys.